This is a performance and tutorial for Order and Chaos, which is an interactive card trick video that I originally made for viewers to interact while watching the video. I decided to do a tutorial for it because it can also be performed live. In the tutorial part, I'll explain how. We'll begin with 12 cards. This is the setup from the original video, ace through queen, in a spiral fashion. Throughout the routine, you're going to be moving from card to card with an imaginary token piece. For this video, you can just point to the card on the screen. Don't worry, I won't see because, well, I'm not even here. This is a recording. When I ask you to move, you can move up, down, left, or right. You cannot move diagonal or to a space where a card has been removed. And keep in mind the ace is 1, the jack is 11, and the queen is 12. Suppose you're at this card and I ask you to move the number on your card, which is a 6. You could go back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be a legitimate move. If this card is removed, you could not move to that space. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could land back on your same card if you like. Throughout the routine, I'll be removing cards, and I'm not allowed to remove a card that would cut you off from other cards. And I'll also try to leave enough time for you to make your moves, and you can hit the pause if needed. So let's begin. Here are 12 cards of various suits and denominations. Select a card now, any card. The choice is all yours. Now use the number on the card you've selected and move up, down, left, or right that many times. The choices of which directions to move are all yours. Go ahead and move now. Now that you're at your new destination, whether it's the same card or not, I'm removing a card which hopefully is not the card you're currently at. Once again, use the number on the card you're at now and move that many times. The choices of which directions to move are all yours. Go ahead and move now. Now that you've landed on your next card, I'll remove 2 more cards. You are done, aren't you? Okay. Hopefully you're still with me. Next, we'll do some spelling. If the card you're at right now is a red card, hearts or diamonds, then spell RED, which equals 3 moves. If the card you're at right now is a black card, clubs or spades, then spell BLACK, which equals 5 moves. So if your card is red, move 3 times. If your card is black, move 5 times. Go ahead and move now. Now that you're at your next destination card, I'm removing a few more cards, which hopefully none of them are the card you're at right now. If you're still with me, meaning you're still on the table, then we'll continue. And remember, I haven't influenced your decisions through subliminals or any other means. Well, at least I don't recall doing that. I'm removing another card. Not yours? Good. Once again, use the number on the card you're at now and move that many times. Go back and forth if you have to. Go ahead, you can move now. I'm removing another card. At this point, I've removed 2/3 of the cards, and there are 4 cards left on the table. If you're currently at one of these cards, then I'm happy to inform you that your counting skills are superb. And keep in mind that your card choice in the beginning and the number associated with it, along with the directions chosen, were all yours. This is the final move. I'm removing a card, and the number on that card will determine the number of times you move. If this is not the card you're currently at, then move 1 time now. You should be at your final destination, and I'm removing another card. If the card you're currently at is the 2 or the 9, then you have to ask yourself how we arrived at this moment in time. I mean, this is not live. I recorded this prior to you watching. It would be impossible to have predicted and predetermined ahead of time the choices you would make, wouldn't it? And yet it now appears as if I have a 50-50 chance. I could do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, 1 potato, 2 potato. Let's just remove this one. If the card you're currently at is still on the table, then congratulations. Now, if you're thinking of going back and doing this again, don't expect a different result. This is a recording. We both know the 9 comes out at the end, and that would cause a bit of a paradox the second time around. So, to solve this little dilemma, we'll do it again right now. And since you already know what you're doing, we'll go a little faster. Here are 12 cards of various suits and denominations. Select a card now, any card. The choice is all yours. Now use the number on the card you've selected and move up, down, left, or right that many times. Go ahead and move now. Now that you're at your new destination, I'm removing a card. Once again, use the number on the card you're at right now and move that many times. You can move now. Are you finished moving? I'm removing 2 more cards. If the card you're at right now is a red card, then spell R-E-D and move 3 times. If the card you're at right now is a black card, then spell B-L-A-C-K and move 5 times. Move now. Now that you're at your next destination card, I'm removing a few more cards. If you're still with me, meaning you're still on the table, then we'll continue. I'm removing another card. Not yours? Good. Once again, use the number on the card you're at now and move that many times. Go ahead and move now. I'm removing another card. At this point, I've removed 2/3 of the cards, and there are 4 cards left on the table. If you're currently at one of these cards, then we'll continue. This is the final move. I'm removing a card, and the number on that card will determine the number of times you move. Move 3 times now. Once again, you should be at your final destination, and I'm removing another card. If the card you're currently at is the 2 or the Jack, then it looks like I have a 50-50 chance again. Let's remove this one. If the card you're currently at is still on the table, then congratulations. This is the tutorial for Order and Chaos interactive card trick. Originally made so viewers can interact with the video as they're watching. However, I'm going to show you how it can also be performed live. And remember, if you don't want to know the secrets, then watch no further, because once you do know, you can't unknow. We'll give a little time for those who don't want to know. First, start with 12 cards. Ace through Queen can be used, but you can also use a different group of cards. They must be a mix of red and black cards though. Before we get into what makes this trick work, here are a few groups of cards and setups. And yes, there is a setup, but most people will never see it unless they know the secret. This is the setup I used in this video and the original video. It's a spiral starting with the ace and ending with the queen. You could also make a reverse spiral with the queen starting in the middle, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's another easy setup using the same cards in order. Did I say order? Here's another setup using the same cards. It's a little more chaotic, not as easy to set up, but it works. Here's another setup using all numbered cards, no face cards, and there are a couple duplicate cards. There are many other setups you can use. I only showed a few, but there is one thing in common. Each one of these setups are like a checkerboard, separated by odd and even numbers. 6 odd cards and 6 even cards. Okay, here's the key to this routine. When your interacting spectator counts an odd number, it will always switch them from an even to an odd, or from an odd to an even. When they count an even number, it always keeps them on the same side without switching. An odd number makes them switch, an even number keeps them from switching. Repeat, an odd number makes them switch, an even number keeps them from switching. Let's say they're at the 4. A 4 is an even number, and they count 4 times. And we'll just go back and forth just to see what happens with an even number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts you back to the 4. Let's count a different way. 1, 2, 3, 4. It lands you on an even number. Let's count again, a different way. 1, 2, 3, 4. An even number. Let's say they're at the 3, and we're going to count 3 and move 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It moves you from the odd number to an even number. Let's move 3 more spaces in a different direction. 1, 2, 3. Remember, they were on an odd number. It always takes them to an even number. 1, 2, 3. Even number. Now this will work every time, no matter how large or small the number is. It only matters if it's odd or even. So no matter which of the 12 cards that are initially chosen, whether it's an odd or even number, and after they move the first time according to the value on their selected card, they will always end up on an even card. Always. So let's test it out. Suppose they chose the 5, and they moved 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're on an even card. Suppose they chose the 4, which is an even card. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always, they'll be on an even card after their first move. Following the pattern and routine, you remove 1 card. Start with the outside cards so you don't cut them off from the other cards. Have them move again using the value of the card they're currently at, which is an even card. That will automatically move them to another even card. Then remove 2 odd cards. Once again, remove outside cards. Next, you want them to get back on odd cards so you can remove some even cards. They're currently on an even card, but you're going to give them an odd number to count with. Keep in mind they don't know anything about the odds and the evens. Tell them if they're on a red card to spell it and count 3. If they're on a black card, then spell it and count 5. Did you notice that the spelling of red and black both contain an odd number of letters? Since they're at an even card and count an odd number, this automatically takes them to an odd card. The entire red-black thing is nothing but an illusion of choice. Next, remove 3 even cards, being careful not to cut them off from any remaining cards. Follow the pattern explaining to them everything that has happened up to this point. You're merely buying time, creating a pause, so you can remove 1 more card without them moving. Have them move again using the value of the card they're currently at, which is an odd card. That will automatically move them back to an even card. Remove 1 odd card. Once again, be careful not to cut them off from access to the other cards. Follow the pattern explaining that there is one last move and that you'll remove a card and the value of that card will determine the number of moves they need to do. Remove 1 odd card and have them move the number on that card. Since they're at an even card, this will take them to an odd card. If I remove the ace, they'll end up on the 9. If I remove the 9, they'll end up on the ace. I'm removing the ace, which equals 1 move. Since they're currently at an even card, the 2 or the 8 in this case, counting 1 automatically takes them to this final card, the 9. Once they're finished making their final move, you can remove 1 of the 2 even cards. Follow the pattern asking how is it that you now have a 50-50 chance. Unbeknownst to them, you actually have a 100% chance. You know they're currently at an odd card, so it's a no-brainer. Remove the even card. Congratulate them, and you're done. Now to perform this live, all you have to do is either hide yourself every time they move, obviously you can't watch while they're moving, or use a blindfold, which is actually pretty cool. Memorize the setup and know which cards to remove ahead of time. It's not as difficult as you would think, especially when using the same setup every time. You can remain blindfolded throughout the entire routine, calling out cards to be removed in between their moves. And they could actually use a token piece to move with. A bag over your head, perhaps? A tinfoil mask? Use your imagination. Or, like I said, just hide yourself during each move. Make sure they remember their card after each move and instruct them how to count and how to spell correctly. Here are my final thoughts on this routine. You can use more than 12 cards, but you would have to create more pattern, more switching, more moving, and it becomes too long. It's better to use 12 cards and perform it twice, having a different result each time. This enhances the illusion of choice and gives your participant a chance to try and somehow beat you the second time around, and we both know that's not happening. When creating your setup, disguise the odds and evens by placing alike colors next to each other. This is an even, this is an odd, such as 2 reds or 2 blacks. And having the jack and the queen in the mix helps hide the odds and evens as well. And lastly, keep in mind that the final card will always be an odd card. Depending on when and which card you remove, you can force any one of the 6 odd cards. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section, but please, no spoiler alerts. Don't reveal the 2 final cards or the odds and evens. And that's it.